Anyone who has been following political events in Rivers State can easily tell that the new governor, Nyesom Wike, is after his former boss and predecessor, Right Honorable Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi. Wike has never disguised this fact. He showed his hand right from the moment he was sworn in. 3 days after he took office, Wike was in Government House accusing his predecessor of looting and vandalizing the governor's lodge and office. Wike had gone to ridiculous and absurd lengths to show his claims of vandalizing and looting of Government House. He made a show and gave a performance of his false accusation that Amaechi stripped the governor's lodge bare, saying that the former governor stole spoons, plates, knives, cups, mattresses, forks, and even curtains from the governor's lodge.
If you go to the government house, they have looted virtually everything, even doors they are looting. When God has made you speaker for 8 years and governor for 8 years, you are not still satisfied. You go and begin to loot doors, carrying televisions that Otley bought, carrying the rug.
These are the images Wike showed to back his lies. As you can see, curtains, doors and TV sets in the lodge were clearly there, seen and intact. Let's even examine Wike's warped logic. Is he saying that TV sets bought over 10 years back by former Governor Peter Odili are what will still be in use in 2015? Or is the Rivers State's governor's residence now a museum where outdated, antiquated TV boxes must be used even when they have gone bad and are completely unworkable and unusable? In this, his early comments as governor, Wike showed his desperation to go after Amaechi even when he cannot prove his accusations, and his reasoning utterly puerile and vindictive. This has been the governance style of Nyesom Wike, a government of deceit, lies and fraud. Wike then claimed he met a completely empty treasury. That again is another big lie and grand deception to steal state funds. Former Governor Amaechi left billions of naira and even went ahead to mention the banks and give the names of the accounts the money were. As at May 29, 2015, Amaechi left 7.5 billion naira cash as balances in the state internally generated revenue IGR account with Sky Bank, FARC account with Zenith Bank, balances with Access Bank, and funds in the State Reserve Fund account in First Bank. This is besides other balances in the State Government House account with Zenith Bank and other government ministries, departments and agencies MDA's accounts, like the Bureau for Public Procurement BPP. Amaechi left another 939 million naira in the Commercial Agric Credit Scheme account in Zenith Bank. By the time you pull all these balances together, we are looking at readily available cash in the region of 10 billion naira left for the Wike administration. Amaechi has mentioned banks, account names and funds left in the account. These are facts that cannot be distorted by Wike. If Wike says he is not lying and he met an empty treasury, we challenge him to publish the statements of this government account that Amaechi mentioned and other Rivers State government ministries, departments and agencies MDA's accounts as at May 29 to prove his claim and show the public that Amaechi left an empty treasury for him. But we dare say he will not, because he runs a government of lies, deception and fraud, always wanting to hoodwink the public as he siphons billions of naira of state funds. Within 30 days in office, Wike had borrowed 30 billion naira, 20 billion naira from Access Bank and 10 billion naira from Zenith Bank. This would amount to borrowing 1 billion naira per day in his first 30 days in office. What did Governor Wike do with 30 billion naira in 30 days? This is besides the billions of naira Amaechi left behind, allocations from the Federation account and revenue from internally generated revenue IGR. In line with his government's one-point agenda to portray Amaechi as corrupt and ran a corrupt administration when he was governor, Wike set up a hack commission of inquiry to indict his predecessor of corruption. What Wike set out to do is anything but a fair probe. Wike had repeatedly held that Amaechi, the person to be investigated, acted illegally in the disbursement of public funds and that Amaechi ran a corrupt government. Clearly, Wike has prejudged the matter and showed his bias that Amaechi is guilty even before investigations. This means Wike, with his prejudiced, made-up mind, has taken a position of a guilty verdict even before the outcome of investigations is known or established. What a sham!
People are saying that we are with something, they were not with something. The truth of the matter is this. We have sold 70% of our fight at $302,400,000. December last year, the so-called purchaser paid $220 million. As of March, no $1 was kept in the account.
Lies, distortion of facts. Rivers State government document available to Governor Wike shows that the Rivers State Executive Council, after extensive deliberations on the 15th and 16th of August 2012, took a decision to sell 70% of its equity in the power assets of the state. Payments for the assets were made in several tranches between 2012 and 2014. All proceeds from the sale, made in US dollars, were lodged in the River State Power Asset Sale account with Access Bank. The dollar proceeds were then sold to willing buyers at a rate higher than the prevailing CBN rate at that time, and the naira equivalent paid by the buyers into the River State revenue account in Zenith Bank. Once the funds were received into the revenue account in Zenith Bank, they were used alongside others from other revenue sources to finance various government projects and activities. As a matter of fact, proceeds from the sale of the power assets were properly recognized in the 2014 Appropriation Law of Rivers State as one of the sources of revenue to fund the 2014 budget. All these details are documented in Rivers State government documents that are available to Governor Wike. Yet, he embarks on this brazen, malicious distortion of facts to achieve his one-point agenda of smearing the image and reputation of Amaechi. This bias and predetermined agenda to indict Amaechi of corruption is obvious even in the terms of reference of the commission. In one of the terms of reference, Wike said the commission should investigate the circumstances that led to the sale of the State Hotel Olympia. With a fair and proper probe, the inquiry should have been to examine the transaction concerning Hotel Olympia. The difference is so clear. In the former, John D. Wike's term of reference, it has been prejudiced and concluded that the hotel was sold. While in the latter, the inquiry is open and fair and may lead to finding of a sale or a lease of even a gift or even a pledge. Now, having so concluded that Hotel Olympia was sold, would Wike be decent and humble enough to reverse himself if documents showed it was never sold but concessioned or leased? This clearly shows Wike's commission harbors a predetermined outcome in the name of an inquiry that is actually an inquisition against Rotimi Amaechi. Government document shows clearly that the hotel was only concessioned or leased on the approval of the State Executive Council and not sold. Even while inaugurating his Yeoman Commission of Inquiry, Wike could not conceal his vendetta agenda. He was clear to the panel members that their job is to indict Amaechi. And to do this dirty hack job, he got Justice G.O. Omeriji, the commission chairman, a man who is well known to harbor a long-held extreme anger, hatred, and animosity against former Governor Amaechi. And Justice Amaechi has never disguised his negative stance and disposition towards Amaechi. As a matter of fact, Justice Amaechi even advised the former Nigerian Bar Association chairman in Rivers State on measures to take against the then Governor Amaechi. He had expressed his hatred for Amaechi several times to the NBA chairman, who was also an Attorney General of Rivers State. How can we now expect Justice Amaechi to be fair to Amaechi, the person he passionately loathes with extreme malice and venom? Early, during the public hearing of the commission, Justice Amaechi clearly showed his bias and his determination to indict Amaechi and officials of his administration.
Unfortunately for everybody, this is a judicial commission of inquiry, and the judicial commission of inquiry is not a serious biting court. If it was before me assisting as a judge as a serious biting court, you will see what is going to happen to people that we are talking about corruption, people that are corrupt. I would have ordered for the arrest of those corrupt officials who decided not to follow the procedure and lock them up and maintain it. And by the time I finish writing my judgment or my ruling, the Court of Appeal will confirm it.
Oh my God! Did the commission chairman just say that? Did you hear that? Watch again. Pay attention to his words.
Unfortunately for everybody, this is a judicial commission of inquiry, and the judicial commission of inquiry is not a serious biting court. If it was before me assisting as a judge as a serious biting court, you will see what is going to happen to people that we are talking about corruption, people that are corrupt. I would have ordered for the arrest of those corrupt officials who decided not to follow the procedure and lock them up and maintain it. And by the time I finish writing my judgment or my ruling, the Court of Appeal will confirm it.
With his own mouth, the commission chairman simply concluded that some people are corrupt, even before all the facts are made known to the commission, even before all sides have been heard. He clearly betrayed his mandate and obviously wanted more powers so he could lock up, perhaps for life, these so-called corrupt officials. What a shame. During the public hearing of the commission, it was commonplace for witnesses to be coerced, directed, ordered, and told in clear terms, sometimes with written notes, on what to say or not to say. Take a look at this clip, where a staff of the commission passes a note to a witness, instructing her on what to say and not to say. Yes, the man in this suit works for the commission. Watch how he surreptitiously passes the note to the witness. What a scam. In the same vein, Justice Amaechi, the chairman of the Inquisition Commission, prevents counsels to those invited by the commission from asking relevant questions that are likely to deviate and detract from their predetermined agenda and conclusion.
Asking my question so that I'll ask my question. My record has to be complete. When my record is complete, but I think it is me versus the witness, so that the commission can get my record of what is transpired.
My point is more than their point. Go and ask anybody anywhere in Nigeria and the United States. If I tell you the number of people that are let's say a few was when I finished at the University of Lagos.
No, that means that you give me some I'm sitting down here, I'm not a small boy in this business. And somebody will know the job, and then he's like, oh, judge. No, it's okay. It's okay. I apologize on behalf of myself. Maybe you two give me the voice when you talk. This is not the commission. This is not the commission. I was looking at the witness, my God. If my Lord knows, I'm so sorry about that. My Lord, I'm sorry.
Imagine, just take a look at that.
Asking my question so that I'll answer my question. My record has to be complete. When my record is complete, but I think it is me versus the witness, so that the nation can get my record of what is transpired. My voice is all and their voice. God has asked anybody anywhere in Nigeria and the United States. If I tell you the number of people that are let's say it was when I finished at the University of Lagos. No, that means that he didn't because I'm sitting down here. I'm not a small boy in this business. And somebody will show the church and let his wife on church. No, it's okay. It's okay. I apologize on behalf of my family. But the two things is voice went off. It's not a commission. This is not a I was looking at the witness, my God. If my Lord looks, I'm so sorry about that. I'm sorry.
That is a bit of the kind of intimidation, harassment, and bullying counsels and witnesses invited by the commission suffered during the public hearings. Counsels were shouted down on, witnesses were constantly bullied to toe the line of the commission's predetermined agenda and conclusion. Also, the commission's chairman was in the habit of ordering witnesses not to answer questions that would expose the commission's bias to indict former Governor Amaechi.
I want to ask you now, what exactly do you understand by a concession?
Indeed, the hack panel of Inquisition did not disappoint its paymaster during its shambolic public hearings. It lived up to expectations as a comedy, a circus show, to grab media headlines with bogus, phantom, and fabricated claims of corrupt practices against former Governor Amaechi and officials of his administration. The public hearing did not achieve anything beyond political excitement, entertainment, and theatrics. Wike's deceptive inquisition of Amaechi is a distraction to entertain and keep the public focused on his circus show, while he siphons and salt away billions of naira from the state treasury. From the moment he stepped into Government House, Port Harcourt, Wike has run a government of lies, deception, and fraud. In furtherance of the Rivers State government-sponsored smear campaign against Amaechi, the services of a hitherto unknown integrity group that completely lacks integrity was procured. Headed by one Livingstone Wike, a known crony of Governor Wike, the group was given tons of official government documents detailing legitimate government transactions during the Amaechi years as governor. However, the Wike government, in connivance with Livingstone Wike, twisted and distorted or even completely altered legitimate government transactions in their desperation to cook up and fabricate sham cases of corruption against Amaechi. Livingstone Wike's integrity group petition against Amaechi to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) and open letter to President Muhammadu Buhari is predicated on the distortion and alteration of legitimate government transactions during the Amaechi administration. With a very heavy financial war chest, Livingstone Wike have been buying pages and pages of advert in almost every newspaper and hours of airtime on national and local television and radio stations to regurgitate his phony and bogus claims of corruption against Amaechi. But what is Integrity Group and who is Livingstone Wike? Wike was a member of Nyesom Wike governorship campaign team. He was in the publicity subcommittee Wike completely lacks integrity. Despite being kicked out from the Civil Liberties Organization (CLO) for using the respected body to trade and do deals, Livingstone Wike continued to parade himself as the spokesman of CLO in Rivers State. His integrity group did not exist until they wrote their malicious petition against former Governor Amaechi. Wike and his so-called integrity group are bereft of any iota of integrity. Even after sending his petition to EFCC and Mr. President, and EFCC had acknowledged that it is investigating the petition, Livingstone Wike has been spending huge sums of money in buying advert spaces in the media to smear and portray Amaechi as corrupt. This is all part of the Rivers State government-sponsored campaign of calumny against Amaechi. No substance, just spread lies and distorted stories of government transaction far and wide, and regularly in the media with the hope that it will stick. It is pertinent we mention that all the phantom allegations raised in the Livingstone Wike's integrity group petition has been debunked in an open letter to Mr. President by two officials of the Amaechi administration, George Fee and Chamberlain Peterside, the then Secretary of the State Government and Commissioner for Finance, respectively. The media circles against Amaechi continued when the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Rivers State, in separate press statements of August 6 and August 21, 2015, alleged that Amaechi stole the sum of $757 million or 80 billion naira of Rivers State public funds and stashed them away in an account in his name in Bancorp Bank in Minnesota, United States of America. The PDP also alleged that Amaechi had embezzled millions of dollars of Rivers State money and stashed the money in other foreign accounts in his name, including a bank in Switzerland. The PDP, sponsored by Wike's government, claimed that the various Amaechi foreign accounts were revealed and blown open by Christina Amanpour of America's cable news network CNN. The PDP went further to claim that Bancorp Bank, Minnesota, had written to President Muhammadu Buhari that part of the funds was to purchase a residence for Amaechi in America, and that they, Bancorp Bank, intends to return the stolen funds to Nigeria. Again, this is another cocktail of lies, another cheap state-sponsored attempt to smear Amaechi with the brush of corruption. There exists nowhere, we repeat, nowhere on CNN, be it TV or website, or even in Amanpour's website, where she made such a revelation about Amaechi. A simple internet search will clearly show that the respected international journalist Amanpour said no such thing. Again, this so-called Amanpour story about Amaechi is predicated on lies and deception, just like all the phony and phantom corruption allegations sponsored by the Wike government to smear the reputation of Amaechi. Again, we must emphasize here that Governor Wike's probe of his predecessor, Rotimi Amaechi, is not part of any war against corruption. Rather, Wike is using Rivers State government resources and institutions to witch hunt Amaechi to fight a puerile vendetta war and vindictive battle. Why is Wike so desperate to rubbish the image and reputation of Amaechi, who is widely acknowledged to have performed very well when he served as governor of Rivers State? Why is Governor Wike so desperately determined to paint and portray to the public that Right Honorable Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi is corrupt, even when he knows that the facts on ground clearly shows otherwise? The answer is so obvious. With President Buhari's avowed war against corruption, Wike believes that the only way Amaechi could be pulled down and prevented from being part of government at the federal level to effect the change Nigerians earnestly yearn for is to drag his name and reputation through the mud and attempt to portray him as corrupt. This is the crux of the matter, the driving motive behind Wike's fraudulent, phony, false and bogus claims of corruption against Amaechi. However, can he succeed? Will he succeed? History is replete with stories like this. Ultimately, good, yes, the good man always triumphs over evil, no matter how thick or devious the plot is. Let us all learn from history.